Good morning, my fellow Africans and the world at large. This is Emmanuel Kujumensa, once again coming into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment, all the way from Ontario, Canada. Today is the 18th of October in the year 2022, and the Bible says, "This is the day the Lord has made. We should rejoice and be glad in it." And for that matter, I take this opportunity to invite the whole world, any man or woman listening to me or hearing my voice, to join me to give thanks to God for the day that He has granted unto us. And life in general, life is beautiful, life is wonderful, life is glorious, life is God Himself, flowing through all things, including mankind. Today, I am going to speak to you on the topic, your entire outer experiences are the product of your thoughts. I repeat, your entire outer experiences are the product of your thoughts. We live in a world that men and women see themselves as victims of the act or the work of people and some forces. But unfortunately, this mindset or this thought process was given to us by people who have lived long time ago. But if we are to do our own analysis and begin to analyze things and seek the truth, we will discover that we are men and women here given the power and freedom. We have the dominion over all things, because the Bible tells us that we are made in the images and the likenesses of God, and therefore we are God incarnate. And if you are God incarnate on earth here, then it's a contradiction to what God is for you to accept that you are a victim of any kind of circumstance, or you are a victim of the act of another person or some evil forces somewhere. And so you will see that we are every day working against our own progress. And as soon as we become awakened to this and we begin to seek the truth and walk in the right direction, we set ourselves free. And as Africans, our focus now is emancipating ourselves from mental slavery, bondage that we have been living in for centuries. And one of these areas is what we are talking about. There is nowhere in Africa, there is no African walking on earth here. Okay, let me make some exceptions, with the exception of a few people that doesn't believe that there are some evil forces somewhere that are working against him or her. Whether the person is practicing traditional religion or Christianity or even Islam, everyone believes that there is something that is working against us. We can take a person to another person, do some incantation, and then get some powers to work on that person. And therefore, if you believe that that could happen on another person, it also implies that you believe that it could happen to you. And so we are all walking in this direction, and therefore we are every day running away from each other in delusion because we lack understanding of who we are. And so today we are talking about the product of your thoughts, the power of thoughts. If you ask men and women that what is the greatest thing, what is the most powerful thing in this world, they will go on to mention all the beautiful, great things that men and women have invented and created. Oh, it is the Concorde aeroplane, or it is the supersonic jet, it is the space rocket. Then we keep on, we go on and on and on and on. And so we see these things as the most powerful things in the world. But as a matter of fact, the most powerful thing in the whole universe is thought. I repeat, the most powerful things in the whole universe is thought. And If you look at all the things that I have mentioned and most of them that you may even know that I don't know, it will come to you if you do a proper thinking and analysis. It will come to you that, or you will come to the realization that all those things came out of the minds of men and women. And for that matter, they are the product of the thoughts of men and women. And therefore, they came to make our life better and move us to where we are. And we are enjoying them because they are the product of our fellow human beings. And so it is with your life. So it is with all of us. Whatever you are, whoever you are, whatever circumstances you find yourself in, whatever condition you are going through, those things didn't come to you because other people are working against you, but they came to you through your own mind by the power of your thoughts. Thoughts is the creator of all things. Thought is the creator of all things. The power of thought is the most powerful thing on earth here. And this exists in the minds of human beings. And so when I tell you that you are a powerful human being, it is a mathematical truth. It is a universal truth. You are a powerful being because you carry the most powerful, the most explosive things in the universe. And that is the human thoughts. So all that we are and all that we will become are the maturity of our thoughts, good or bad. And thoughts exist in our minds. And if you take a person's mind and analyze it, actually we don't see it. But the fact is that there is nothing that happens in the human being's mind except thoughts. And so if you look at all these things, God is so wonderful and so gracious, generous, such that he never denied any man or woman the mind and the ability to generate thoughts. And so when God created everything and he brought mankind into this beautiful world, the command was that I have given you a garden, and it is your responsibility to take this garden and tend it. Let it be beautiful and keep it. But peradventure, if you leave it to go wild and however you do it, it is your property, and that is what you're going to enjoy. That is what you're going to endure. And so God gave us the right. You are a God in your own self. And so you're supposed to change your life, to make your life beautiful by the use of your mind and your thoughts. And so whatever thing that we have done on earth here as human beings that has improved our life came as a result of the combination of the mind and thoughts. Those that we have done to destroy ourselves here came as a result of the combination of mind and thoughts. In the same way, in your personal life, your life that is full of poverty, is full of whatever thing that you are going through, is as a result of what you are entertaining in your mind. For you are the creator of your own realities. You are the creator of your own reality. So when I say that your entire outer experiences are the product of your thoughts, that is what I mean. You are a creator. You are a human being living in two worlds, the seen and unseen world. Your life proceeds from the unseen into the seen. And therefore, you cannot control the things that are happening in your life on the unseen, except you go into the unseen. And the unseen is your mind. And in your mind, you have only thoughts existing there. So you only have to be cautious of this and guide your mind and control the thoughts that you allow them to go into your mind, for you to dwell upon them and generate emotions. This is a universal truth that is known to many men and women all over the world. Unfortunately, the African is still dead to it. And as I'm speaking to you right now, whoever you are that you are listening to me, your own thought process is that there are some spiritual powers that may or are working towards your downfall. And therefore, you have a super duper pastor. You have some big men that you have to go to them that they protect you. So in this state of mind, you are in bondage. Your mind, you are not using your mind as it's supposed to be. You are a free human being, full of potentials and possibilities. And the only thing you have to do is to think and dwell upon this and let them come out of you into your outer world. And so you will see that whatever we are creating in our lives is as a result of what we know and how we use our minds and our thoughts. But as for Africans, we don't even have knowledge about this. And that is why this education is very important, not for people who didn't go to school, but for even the academicians and those who haven't actually attended school at all, because we are all in the same bucket. You are the product of your thoughts. And so it is with every human being. And I have once made the audio with an example which I used the Ghana, Accra, the city of Ghana, Accra. There is a part called the Odona or the Odo River. And the estuary getting into the sea, if you go there, is one of the despicable things that you can ever see on earth. Then I compared it to the River Thames. Those of us living in the UK that you will listen to me, in London in particular, if you go to the River Thames and you go and see what men and women have turned this river into, you will marvel. And so when you look at what is happening in Accra, and then you look at what is happening in London, you will see the differences of how men and women are using their minds. And so what we are living by, what we are experiencing in Accra, is the product of our own thoughts. We believe that we are unable to take anything and turn it into beauty and make it beautiful. And some people also believe that they are the makers of their life, and therefore they confronted whatever thing that they were seeing and turn it into some beautiful things. You may argue that they have capital, they have that, but as a matter of fact, capital exists in your mind. What is more important is idea. And I'm just using this one example. If you go across the African continent, from everywhere, you will see these things going through, that Africans are living by some situations that are degenerated into whatever, disasters. And we only all that we can do is to sit down and wail. And so you will see that a mind that is not thinking, that is the thought that is going through that mind. And this thought becomes your reality. But if you are thinking and thinking in the right direction, you get ideas. And these ideas also will come out into your actual experience. That becomes your reality. So you are the product of your thoughts, or your entire outer experiences are the product of your thoughts. It's a mathematical and a universal truth. Look into your life. You as an individual, you will realize that your behavior, your attitudes, your habits, all put together, that has molded and shaped what you are. You can go around ignorantly blaming people, blaming evil forces. Accusing your grandparents, your great grandparents, your mother, your father, your uncles, that they are witches and wizards, that they are fighting against your progress. But the fact remains that whatever you are experiencing is coming out of you. It's coming out of you because you are a powerful human being, given the rights and the ability to create. And the creation is done by the combination of your mind and your thoughts. Nothing will ever happen in the human's life without it first existing in thought form. And therefore, if you know what thoughts are, then you will begin to use your mind in the right way. So the idea, my fellow Africans, whoever you are, the idea that we are being attacked by evil forces. The idea that when you are failing, when things are not going on well in your life, you go and look for someone you call a powerful spiritual man or whatever to deliver you, is a kind of mental enslavement. You are living out of your mind. You are not living in the right way as you're supposed to live as a human being. Your mind is in bondage and you need to liberate yourself. You are a free human being. You are a free individual. God said, I have given you the dominion over all things. And therefore, nothing is against you. All things are for you. So let us rise up, my fellow Africans. There is something that is going on that we are ignorant or we are not conscious of. And that is how we use our minds. Our woes, our difficulties, our everything that we are going through comes to the fact that we are playing the victim mentality. We are always victims of someone. We are victim of a certain power's actions or course. And therefore, we are every day working about. And as so long as we are in this mindset, we will never get freedom. We will keep on recreating this over and over and over because your mind will take your thoughts and reproduce exactly what you are thinking. And so, liberate yourself. Emancipate yourself from mental slavery. It's a universal command to all men and women. And those that we are seeing them doing beautiful, greater, and wonderful things, they emancipated their minds. They got rid of all this kind of old beliefs, superstitions, and traditions and brought their minds home. And therefore, any situation that falls on the ground, they take it head on, use their minds, apply the right thoughts, and they emotionalize, they visualize whatever they are looking for. Then eventually it comes into their existence as their own creation. And so, whatever you are, if you are poor, if you are sick, if you are, whatever condition you are going through, analyze your thought process, your thinking patterns, and you will see that all these things are embedded in your way of thinking. And for you to overcome them, the only way to overcome them is to change your perceptions, to change your attitude of mind. And that is beginning to think, hey, I am the child of God. I am the creation of God. I am the image and the likeness of God. And therefore, I have the power and dominion over all things. I am here to dominate. I am here to conquer. Therefore, I am free. I am free. No one is attacking me. All my experiences are the product of my own thoughts. Therefore, since I am the creator, I am going to reverse all of them one by one. And if you take this approach and begin to think positively, constructively, every negative in your life will be reversed. And so it is with Africans. We have so many difficulties. We have so many challenges. And as I said yesterday, our forefathers took a certain mentality, a certain mental attitude, and that has been transferred onto us. This victimhood mentality, this victimhood attitude was carried over from our forefathers. They were always the victims of the works of the gods, the evil forces, the witches, and whatever. Now is the time that we have to cut all these things out of our lives. And as I use the British and Ghana as an example, as a matter of fact, I have spent over 10 years in the United Kingdom. And in this period, I have lived in Scotland. I schooled in Liverpool. And then in London. In all this, I lived among people. I was working. I schooled. I was working in Glasgow. All these things, I lived among British. And never had I ever heard anyone making reference to evil forces, witches, wizards as the causes of their situation. But as a matter of fact, I related with many people who had similar situations as what I was having. If it is financial, it could be this or that and that. But they don't look at it that they are the work of any spiritual forces or whatever, their grandparents or whatever. But the African is always attribute his failures. The African is always attributing what he has not been able to do to some spiritual forces. And if it is not the spiritual forces, then we come back, we put the radar on the Europeans that they came to our land to destroy our land, and they are still masterminding our failures. These are minds that are in bondage that needs to be liberated. These are minds that are in bondage. You lack the understanding of the power of your mind and your thoughts. If you know the power, if you know and understand the power of your mind and your thoughts, then you will cease immediately from accusing outer things as the cause of your woes, as the cause of your situations. You begin to take control of your mind. And as soon as you become conscious of this, you will know that you are liberated. You are no more under the bondage. You are no more under the bondage of fear of other men and women, fear of imaginary spirits that don't exist. But we create them in our minds. Then you go on to take the right actions, and develop the right attitude. Then you recreate your life. The human being can recreate his life several times. You can pull it down and recreate it because you are a creator. But it all begins from thoughts. It all begins in your mind. Be it sickness, be it anything in this world, it begins from your mind. And if I'm to give you an example, the human beings that we see on earth here, all of us are a product of thoughts, regardless of how you may look at it. But I want you to think about this right away, particularly those of us that are parents ourselves. No man or woman has ever given birth without having thoughts of having a sexual affair with a man or woman, a man and a woman. This is a deliberate act. And it came as a result of your thought. You see the woman sees the man, then they become attracted to each other. You say you love one each other. That is the product you are taught. That is your thought process. And as you become together, and then you have this act, it gets to a point that the man and the woman said, we want to give birth. Then they sit down and plan and take a decision, and then they go on to have an affair and give birth to a child. So if you look at yourself, as you walk here and you call yourself this and that, you are the product of your mom and dad. You are the product of your mom and dad's thoughts. The man and the woman that says we don't want to give birth, they are walking on this earth without children. Yeah, we have many men and women who are without children because in their minds, in their thoughts process, they don't want children. And so it is. Wherever you are, you find yourself as African, if you are in London, if you are in the UK, if you are in Canada, if you are in USA, if you are in Australia, wherever you find yourself, you didn't go there by accident. And no one teleported you there. It was as a result of your thoughts, your plan. And those of us Africans, we even make lies and go to the embassies, the high commissions, and then we take the visas. We jubilate, we go to our churches and make big testimonies that God has blessed. Then we come to this place. So when you come here and you are facing the challenges of wherever you are, it is not the work of any evil forces somewhere. So a mind that lives and always believes that it is under, or a man or woman that lives and always believes in his or her mind that all that he or she is going through is as a result of the work of evil forces. That man or woman is in bondage. The mind is in bondage, and it needs to be freed. It needs to be freed immediately. That is the truth of life. So let us rise up. Let us begin to think about all these things. There is power. There is power in our mind. There is power in the existence of a human being, and this power is in your thoughts. Thoughts is the only thing that has made us, and thought is the only thing that will make us. Any situation, anything that will come into your life, do not go and pray about this and that. You only sit down and change your thought process because you thought it into being. You thought it into being. So let us be enlightened and be awakened such that we will take responsibilities and accountabilities of what we think, but not hiding under all these false beliefs and then attributing it to other forces that don't exist in us. This is the time that the African has to take responsibility and accountability of what he thinks. If you look at how our towns and cities are deteriorating, they are not even deteriorating, how they are unkempt, how they are not developed. It's all as a result of our inability to think and bring improvement in our lives, to make drastic changes in our life, to see ourselves that we are progressive, we are evolving beings, and therefore our only job here is to evolve our existence. That is it. There are a lot of things that we have in Africa that we are still doing it exactly as our forefathers used to do. But if you come to this part of the world, they have packed some of these things in museums. And they are actually revising and improving all these things, and they are showcasing them everywhere. And so when you look at this, and then you go and look at ours, it is the product of either sides. We are not using our minds because we are in bondage. We have put our minds in a kind of with shackles, such that the mind cannot create any good things for us. So let us liberate ourselves. Let us liberate ourselves from all this mental bondage. And it all comes back to how we understand the power of thoughts and the power of our mind. The human being existence originates and ends in no way other than his mind and his thoughts. And if you are able to think and think the right thing and train your mind to think and think the right thing, you will actually experience the right thing in your life. That is the truth of life. We cannot go about chasing people. That is something that we have to stop. We can no longer go on blaming people. We will not set ourselves free until we take responsibility and accountability of our own thoughts. The other time I had a conversation with someone, and we were talking about this slavery. Our forefathers were already into slavery, and they were killing each other. They were killing themselves. They were actually selling their own people. The powerful tribes goes and capture the smaller tribes and selling amongst themselves, and were selling them to the Arab people. They were using them for rituals. And they did it. Do you think they were going against universal laws and principles based on what human beings is? Human sacrifices. Our forefathers were into it. They did it. They did it with joy up to a point. You see, so when a group of people sat down to organize their life along this way, going against the laws of the universe has a way to bring some forces somewhere to bring their minds back for them to repent. And so all that we have seen the Europeans coming to our land and whatever they've done is a wake-up call. It's the call from the universe for the African to begin to think and take responsibility and accountability of his own thoughts and actions. Unfortunately, we did not. And as a matter of fact, all these practices, human sacrifice, all these kind of things that our forefathers used to do, we would have still be practicing them by now if the Europeans didn't come in to stop it. And even right now, if you go to Volta region, there is something called trocosi. I remember, Rawlings' time, when Rawlings was the president of Ghana, all these things came up. There are a lot of places. If you go to some part of Ghana, Nigeria, and all some of the West African countries, they are still doing human, what we call circumcision. All these things are the minds of evidence of people whose minds are in bondage. I once watched a video on Facebook. I don't know which part of Ghana that actually happened. A group of women, I don't know the story. It was just the video I just saw and watched it and closed it. A group of women, traditional women, who were actually wailing and cursing a group of policemen and women who were on an assignment. I think that thing happens in the Greater Accra region, Accra, the Ghana areas of Ghana. And I was asking myself, we are in a democratic country, and now the police officers have been given the power to go for an assignment, whichever way a mind that is enlightened will find a way to address the situation by not hailing insults, not hailing curses upon the police officers. And you ask yourself, it could even be that some of the police officers are members of the same tribe that these women are coming from. So you see that our setup is a kind of confusion. And it is all as a result of it. It is because that is how we are confused in the unseen state. And until we begin to take all these things out of our lives and begin to organize our lives and take accountability and responsibility that whatever we are going through are the product of our own thoughts, what we are thinking, and what we think are our cultures, our traditions that we are protecting, we will not go anywhere. We will not be free. We need freedom. This time, it's not freedom from human beings. It's freedom from ourselves. Let us throw away all these things. Let us begin to analyze our thought process. Let us begin to analyze all our practices. Do they mirror the universal laws and principles? The human being is here to live as an independent, free being. But unfortunately, Africans, we have placed ourselves in bondage. And so I can only give some few examples. You can analyze our lives. Begin from the southern part of Africa to the north and go to the east to the west of Africa. You will see these things happening in various versions. Whatever thing that men and women are using their minds to revise and make it work and move on in their lives, Africans, we are clinging to it and we do not want to let them go. Then how can we go forward? So in your life, whatever thing that you are going through, whatever experiences that you are enduring, they did not come to you because of evil forces. They came to you as a result of your thought process, and therefore begin to change your mind. And once again, that is why when you study the Bible, Jesus Christ, when he came on this earth, his message was centered on only one thing: repent, for the kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of God is God's will. We are all in the God's kingdom, for we are all children of God. And therefore, when we repent and we begin to take accountability and responsibility of our thoughts, and we become awakened to the truth that thoughts are powerful. All things and experiences are thought. Thoughts are things and experiences. We will begin to reshape and remold our life in such a way that we will no longer cultivate negative and destructive thoughts, but we will cultivate and entertain only positive and constructive thoughts that moves us forward as men and women living in the millennium age. Living in the millennium age. Let us rise up. Let us rise up. My fellow Africans, the emancipation of the African minds, it runs through every aspect of our lives, but it begins with our traditions. It begins with our own ways of life. It begins with our own ways of life. If you sit down and analyze some of the things that our forefathers used to do, and you bring it right now, that we have men and women that we call them custodians of our tradition, they are protecting them. They are protecting all those bad things that our forefathers did. They are still with us. They are in our racial subconscious mind. And so long as we are connected to these things at the subconscious level, anything that we will do on the outer will never work, because thoughts never go away unless you actually work on yourself to flush them out of your system. And so individually, collectively, as Africans, we need to peg ourselves. And that is liberating ourselves, having one common mind that we are the images and the likenesses of God. We are human beings who have spirits, who have souls, and souls can never be destroyed. And therefore, we are here to live for a period, regardless, no matter what, however you will fight against death, it will one day come to you. It will one day come to you. So be a free man and walk and behave as a free man, but not actually thinking of death, which is coming from evil forces and the work of your fellow men and women. And when we do that, you will see that our minds will be free. We will no longer be afraid of anything. We will no longer be afraid of anything. We'll begin to entertain, cultivate, and entertain only positive and constructive thoughts. And so you are the product of your own thoughts. Can be seen across the whole African continent. Our underdevelopment, our poverty, our lack, our everything is the projection of what we have in our minds. It's the projection of what we have in our minds. And as soon as we begin to have the rich and the beautiful and wonderful thoughts in our minds, they will come back into our lives as the projection of what is in our lives. That is what we can do. We can never bring Western development into our setup when our minds are not up to that level. It doesn't work like that. It will never work. But let us begin to weed out all the negativity, all the debilitating thoughts, all those negative mental attitude that we have. And when we do that, we will see that we'll go forward faster and faster. Africa will rise to become a continent of power and dominion. So let us rise up. Let us rise up. Let us rise up and be awakened to the truth that thoughts are things. Thoughts are our experiences. Thoughts are things. Thoughts are our experiences. And therefore, if you want to change anything in your life, change your thought processes about the thing. Change the way you think about whatever circumstances, and it will change. If you begin to change all things from your within and begin to direct your mind to think and focus on only the things that you are looking for, you will realize that all those negative ones will fade away like a cloud of fog, not into nothingness. They are nothing. The human being is here to create. And so you are a creator. Today, I want to take this opportunity to remind you that you are a creator by default, whether you know it or not. And so long as by your nature you are entertaining and you are generating and entertaining thoughts, you are in the creation mode. And your life will be cooked in the chambers of your subconscious mind and shown to you in the outer world. And as I said the other day, your life is a movie. It's a movie that you are acting, you are creating within the chambers of your subconscious mind. And it will be shown unto you in the outer screen of your environment as your own creation. So when you go to Africa and we are only seeing deaths, we are only seeing underdevelopment. When people classify as an underdeveloped country, third world countries, they are only commenting on what we have in our minds that is being projected into our outer world. And this is the time that we have to rise up to begin to weed out, to begin to take control of our mind. Set your mind free. You are not under bondage. You are not under any spiritual attack. But you are only you are only abusing your mind. And because you are abusing your mind, you are getting the effects of the abuse of your mind. So begin to use your mind constructively, and positively. And you will be a free man forever. That is my message for you. Now, may the overshadowing presence of God that keeps the stars and the planets, that keep the stars in the open, such that they do not fall on us, keep you, and that keeps the planets in the orbits, such that they do not clash with one another, keep you and guide you, and give you an open mind, such that this message will fall on a vital ground, that you will take this message and move on, and let us liberate ourselves from this mental bondage one by one, such that we begin to live as free, independent men and women on the African continent, reshaping, molding our continent into a modern and a wonderful one. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Kwejo Mensah. I am the co-founder of the African Mental Emancipation Movement. Our determination and our focus is the complete mental emancipation of the African people, regardless of where we are, such that we all team up to create a new and a diverse and multiracial Africa, such that we have all men and women on the African continent as it is. Africa is inhabited by only black people. And that is not what God intended it to be. This is the time that we have to create and invite all men and women to come and taste the goodness of the African mind. And we will be a diverse and a multiracial continent, depicting or showing the true nature of God on the African continent. Thank you, and God bless you.